heavy week in Australia. I suppose I got to talk about it. Um, Look, I don't want to get too into it because I feel like we've all been just completely overwhelmed. One thing I will say is stop looking at the news. Don't look at footage of it. It's only going to ruin your fucking mental, your brain. And a lot of people think that watching footage of something is doing something about it. You're not helping anyone, okay? It's important to be aware when things happen, but for fuck's sake, you're just traumatizing yourself, okay? If you want to help, donate some money to the victims. Share a GoFundMe for some of the victims, and if you really want to respond to it, here's what I'm doing. When something really horrific happens and it distresses me, and it's not something that I can really do something about, right? Like I'm not there. I can donate money and I can share a petition, but I can't physically like do anything about this. What I can do is I can be the opposite of that, right? So like that's what we have to do. All of these people that when stuff like this happens, they often try and sow just division and hatred and stuff like that. And I understand that reaction because it made me very fucking angry. And I think we have a huge problem with like Islamic radicalization and radicalization in general from lots and lots of different groups. Um, but if we really want to stand against that stuff, obviously, we got to call it what it is and say that it's wrong. But like, if we really want a cohesive country and communities that are safe and prospering, we need to personally foster that ourselves. I think a lot of people, when same thing when like these the Nazis were marching and saluting and showing up in the city masked up and doing Nazi shit. Like so many people get so angry at that, and that's all that they do. That's all they do. They just get, oh, this is bad, and then they sit in their homes and they get angry online. It's like if we really want to foster a cohesive community, we need to do that. So I thought, fuck. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going down to my church and I'm going to repaint the cross because it looks shabby and it's looked shabby for decades before I started going. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do something nice for my community, and then I'm going to, you know, hang out and foster that. That's what I can do, and I can contribute to my community and put love into it. And when I walk around the area, I'm going to be nice to people. And like that's a tiny fucking thing, and it feels silly like saying that that's the response to this stuff, but it literally is. Like that's a huge part of it. Is like if we want a cohesive, loving society, we have to actually do that. We can't just I think a lot of people, when we see behavior that we don't like, we just respond with disgust and rage and anger, and we should do that. That's good because it's a bad thing that happened. But I think a lot of people just leave it there, and they don't actually engage in the opposite of that behavior. And what that does is is it enables this stuff to fester because unfortunately, like what extremists are really fucking good at, and people that are radicalized are really good at, they're fucking great at community. They're really good at it. They understand it, you know? And this is like every type of extremist and radicalist group, right? What they fundamentally understand is the importance of building and fostering community and love and brotherhood, you know? Like that's a really important part of it. That's how this shit happens, you know? Like and that's why we have to also foster our communities and put love into them. Because if we don't, they will. If we just sit there, remain angry, and don't fucking leave our house and just keep to our own and all that kind of stuff, we just become a more fragmented and isolated houses. We're not a community. We're just like a house, and then we go to work, and then we're not an actual community. We don't know our neighbors. We don't know uh, who we live around. We don't understand what's happening in our communities. We don't give a fuck about what's going on in our councils. We don't, like if you want to change the world, you got to start with where you live, and part of that is just being nice and an example. And when you feel really terrible, when things happen and you don't know what to do, and this even goes if you're just feeling depressed, if you're like personally feeling depressed or sad or angry or about something that happened just to you, a really good thing is to just do something for someone else. And that's what I'm gonna do. Is I'm gonna go and today I'm gonna drive down and I'm gonna sand the cross, and then I'm gonna put a coat of paint on it, and then I'll go there tomorrow and I'll put another coat of paint on it, and that'll look great. And then on Sunday everyone look at it and be like, oh, that's great. That's nice that we do that for each other. So that's, I don't know. It's not a perfect response, and it feels silly and small and insignificant when stacked up against the immense evil that happened in Bondi. But what else can we do? That's what we can do. What we can do is what we can do. So yeah, fuck those people. And ASIO failed massively because it looks like by all accounts this was incredibly preventable. And I don't think that they can gun control their way out of this issue. Sure, people like that shouldn't have 6 guns. Okay, I feel like that's a given. But to me, this is not a fucking gun control issue. It's hey, how were these people able to fucking radicalize and travel over to the Philippines and train with ISIS? And how is a person being investigated by ASIO allowed to have such close proximity to guns and congregate with all of these other people that are being investigated by ASIO, and fucking nothing happens? Like not a single red flag popped up when they flew to the Philippines. It's like fucking crazy that this was allowed to happen. There's a radical extremist issue, not just within the Islamic community, but within like fucking white supremacists as well. Like there's this seems to be like this bubbling groups of extremists that are able to congregate and plan and organize that are seemingly fucking ignored or not discovered by the people that are supposed to be protecting us from this sort of shit. And it's concerning and scary. But we must not become more like them. So, what can you do for your community to foster a culture and a country that people want to be a part of and want to contribute to? That's what I really have learned, because I never used to do that shit ever. And I thought it was silly and a waste of time. The more I do it, the more I understand that actually that's the point of life, is to build an environment that you want to live in and that you want other people to live in, where it's safe and good and not like that. All right? Anyway, speaking of utopia, Saudi Arabia